Mukhtasar Minhaaj Al-Qaasideen, written by that scholar Ibn Qudam al-Maqdisi, rahimahullah. We were speaking about Da'un Udal, a destructive disease, a sickness that is the sickness of the heart, from Amrad al-Qulub, from the diseases of the heart. And this particular disease is none other than al-ujb, self-amazement, to be admired of one's accomplishment and achievements. And it's of various of types. So we have taken that al-ujb, it is from the muhlikat, from the things that destroy a person and ruin him. It could be an yu'jab bimalihi, can be amazed of his wealth, of his career, of his work level. A person could be mu'jab bibadani wa bijamalihi wa bimadahirihi. He can be impressed of what he has been given, of strength, greatness of appearance, and the likes of that. Also, he can be mu'jab bira'yihi. Mu'jab kullu dhi ra'yin bira'yihi. That a person become amazed of his opinion. Also, a person could be mu'jab bi awladihi wa khadamihi wa ma hasal wa naslanihi, also his progeny in general. A person can be amazed and he starts to be overwhelmed of looking at the amount of children he has, or the family he has, or the people that are serving him. And a person could also be mu'jab bi dhakaihi wa aqlihi. He can be amazed by his intelligence and also the level of his intellect. A person also at times could be amazed bihasanatihi, with his good deeds. We have all of them, the things that a person could be amazed of. Bimalihi wa ghinah, with his wealth, his property, his richness. The next thing, a person could be amazed bibadanihi wa jamalihi wa madahirihi, his body, his physical appearance, what he has from what stands out of his outward affair. And this also includes his strength. And also from the things that a person can be amazed of is bira'yihi, with his opinions. And this is prominent. Mu'jab bira'yihi. A person can be overwhelmed about the opinions he has. I'jab kulli dhi ra'yin bira'yihi. And this happens a lot. Each person admires his opinion. And also from the things that a person can be amazed of is al-awlad wal-ghilman wal-khadam. أنا أكثر منك مالا وولدا. Yani that he says, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا أَمْوَالُكُمْ وَلَا أَوْلَادُكُمْ بِالَّتِي تُقَرِّبُكُمْ عِنْدَنَا زُلْفَى. It's these things of your children and the likes of that, your progeny and your wealth, it is not the real thing. Also, from the things that a person could be amazed of is بِذَكَائِهِ وَعَقْلِهِ, his intellect and his intelligence. He can say, إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي. And this all occurred because of my intelligence, how smart I am, the cleverness I have. There's ilaj lil-ujb, a treatment and a cure and a remedy for self-amazement. And they say each affair of what you're amazed of has a specific treatment for it. Like, for example, that if a person is amazed بِبَدَنِهِ وَمَظَاهِرِهِ, he's amazed of his strength, his physical appearance, his beauty, these affairs, then they say the cure for it is to look to from where he came from and what he will be destined to. So they say a person looks that أوله نطفة وآخره, that his first stage is a drop of fluid and the last part of it is it's a jifa, jifatun qadira. It's a dead corpse. وَفِي بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ يَحْمِلُ الْعَذِرَ. And between that two stages, he's carrying waste in his belly. I said this is to cure that self-abasement. Also they say to look to the affair that أُخْرِجْتَ مِنْ مَخْرَجِ الْبَوْلِ مَرَّتَيْنِ, you came out from the passage of urine twice. What are you so much in amazement of? And also they say to look at the stages, that min ضعف ثم min قوة ثم min ضعف, see the stages of weakness, of strength and weakness. This will kill that admiration that he has. طيب, they say the cure and the remedy for being amazed of your wealth and your richness is to recall the statement of Allah, Ya ayyuhan nas, antumul fuqara'u ila Allah, wallahu huwal ghaniyyul hamid. That, O mankind, you are all in poverty in front of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. You're all in dire need to Allah, while Allah is all rich and the praiseworthy one. So lahu al-ghina al-mutlaq. And no matter what a person owns, huwa tahta mulkillah. He's under the kingdom and the dominion of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. The cure for amazement in relation to your opinion is to begin to doubt your opinion at times, knowing that الرأي ليل والحديث نهار. That opinion of a man is darkness of the night, and hadith and Quran is daylight, and it's 100%. And knowing that a person could say something today, وَيَرْجِعْ عَنْهُ غَدًا, and he could recant from it tomorrow. Look at the Imma. They have an opinion. He has an opinion in Iraq. Then when he goes to Egypt, he has a different opinion. Look how many riwayat Imam Ahmed has. It shows you that al-haqqu dalatul mu'min. And the truth is the lost item for the believer, that he can say something today, and once he comes across what he deems to be upright and correct, he'll leave it off. Is to start to doubt yourself at times. Say perhaps this needs further investigation. You may need to look into this more. Listen to how the language of the scholars are and how they speak. And you listen to the as'ila, the Q&A of Sheikh bin Baz. Just listen to a tape of Liqa al-Maftuh, an open session where it has most of Q&A. You find a lot of the answers. He's saying that perhaps هذا يحتاج إلى مزيد نظر وبحث. This requires us to look into it further, to research it. That I don't have much knowledge concerning it. And you see Sheikh bin Abdul Muhsin Abbad saying, ask who's more knowledgeable about me or more knowledgeable of me of this affair. Regarding the cure and the remedy for being amazed for your children, it is to look that your children and your lineage, it will be of no benefit to you on that day. يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه. Each person will flee from one another, and that if from the best of household and lineage, the Prophet ﷺ says to Fatima, Ya Fatima, لا أغني عنك من الله شيئا. I have nothing that I can avail you from Allah Tabarak Ta'ala. And some have said the cure and the remedy for being amazed of your intelligence and your level of intellect is to look of how the mind of a man could be in a state of strength and then eventually become weak. It is mu'arrad lil-naqs, and it's open for deficiency. These type of things are generally mentioned as a cure and a remedy. So what is self-amazement that we mentioned last class? It is a type of nazar that you look to yourself بنظرة متميزة عن غيرها. That you look, that you stand out from others. You see that you're more superior, you're more elite from others. While in reality, tawadu', as Fudayl ibn Iyad says and is found in the Madarij al-Salikin, Ibn Qayyim mentions therein, is Allah تعتقد لنفسك قيمة. You don't see any self-value for yourself. When you find a person has this self-value and then he sees that his self-value is more superior than others, then this could be what leads to his downfall. In the expedition of Hunayn, إذا أعجبتكم كثرتكم. They were amazed of their great numbers. كانوا 12 ألفا. They were 12,000. So one of them said, لن نغلب اليوم عن قلة. We won't be defeated today due to having small numbers. You know, when you attach victory to numbers and you're amazed of that, scholar said, فَوُكِلُوا إِلَى هَذِهِ الْكَلِمَةِ. They were left to that. فَلَمْ تُغْنِ, they didn't avail them the kathra, the great numbers, but it was a reason for the defeat. So let's continue inshallah from the booklet. علاج العجب, a section in curing and how to treat self-amazement. اعلم أن الله سبحانه هو المنعم عليك بإيجادك وإيجاد أعمالك وأسباب أعمالك. He said, have knowledge of certainty that Allah, exalted is He and glory to Him, is the one that bestowed His favor onto you. وَمَا بِكُم مِّن نِعْمَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. Whatever blessing you have, it's from Allah. بِإِيجَادِكَ, number one reason, because Allah brought you into existence. وَإِيجَاد أَعْمَالِكَ, and bring in your actions and deeds into existence. وَاللَّهُ خَلَقَكُمْ وَمَا تَعْمَلُونَ. Allah خَلَقَكُمْ وَمَا تَعْمَلُونَ. That Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala created you and what you've done. وَأَسْبَابِ أَعْمَالِكَ, and the means that you've taken for your deeds. هُوَ مُسَبِّبُهَا, they say. He is the one that brought that sabab, that cause. فَلَا مَعْنَى لِعُجْبِ عَامِلٍ بِعَمَلِهِ. So there's no place for a person to have self-amazement for his deeds. وَلَا عَالِمٍ بِعِلْمِهِ, nor for a scholar for his knowledge. وَلَا جَمِيلٍ بِجَمَالِهِ, nor someone that has been granted beautiful of appearance to be amazed of that. وَلَا غَنِيٍّ بِغِنَاهُ, nor someone that has richness to be amazed of that. إِذْ كُلُّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى, being that all of that is from the grace of Allah. They say, بِمَحْضِ فَضْلِهِ. It was solely by the grace of Allah. Because if you look into everything, the means you taken goes back to Allah. Because who is musabbibuha? The planning that you've done, the other affairs, the intention, it all goes back to that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He is the one that created you and brought you to existence. If it wasn't for that, you wouldn't have. So it says, it was solely by the grace of Allah. When you have that in your heart, all of your accomplishments and achievements, it's attached to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala and shukr. وإنما الآدمي محل لفيض النعم عليه وكونه محلا له نعمة أخرى. طيب, it's being that the human being is just positioned to be granted these blessings from one blessing to another. فإن قلت إن العمل حصل بقدرتك فمن أين قدرتك? And if a person says, but this action, I did it because of my capability. I said to him, where is this capability? It came from where? ولا يتصور العمل إلا بوجودك ووجود عملك وإرادتك وقدرتك وكل ذلك من الله تعالى لا منك. Find that this capability wouldn't have occurred in your deeds and your intentions if it wasn't from Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, and it's not from yourself. Then he mentions, going on, وفي صحيحين من حديث أبي هريرة عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال لن يدخل أحدا منكم عمله الجنة. Hadith in Bukhari Muslim. None of you, and it has different wordings, لن يدخل, and here لن يدخل. None of you will enter Jannah from amongst you due to his deeds. قالوا ولا أنت يا رسول الله, not even you, O Messenger of Allah. قال ولا أنا, even me, he said, I will not enter Jannah because of my deeds. إلا أن يتغمدني الله, بِرَحْمَةٍ مِّنْهُ وَفَضْلٍ. Except if Allah overwhelms me with His grace and His blessings. So it shows you your deeds is not what enters you into paradise. It's actually the mercy of Allah and His grace that enters you into paradise. The deeds are just means to earn the mercy of Allah and that affair. For this reason, from the names of Jannah is Rahmah. From the names of paradise is mercy. How's that? Hadith Abi Sa'id, brothers. وَأَنْتِ رَحْمَتِي. You are my mercy. When Allah was addressing paradise, He said, you are my mercy. Is there any other ayahs in the Quran, brothers, that we can take that paradise is titled Rahmah? Huh? I'll give that for homework for the brothers, inshallah. Anything of that, inshallah? طيب, he says, وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّ الْعُجْبِ يَكُونْ بِالْأَسْبَابِ التي بها يقع الكبر وقد سبق ذكرها وعلاجها. And he says, have knowledge of certainty that self-amazement is from the means that a person falls into arrogance and pride by way of. And has been mentioned, it's a fear and also its cure. So they said, what is a cure for pride? Is usually a cure for self-amazement. غالبا, majority of the cases. What cures and treats arrogance and pride, self-pride, is most of the time a cure for self-amazement and this self-love that a person loves himself so much that he becomes overwhelmed and he forgets about his creator, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you look at some people, sometimes they get overwhelmed of their accomplishments. They believe that they are those who determine everything, and they have that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no affair in that matter, that they come and they say, you are the author of your own destiny, you can do everything. These wordings is generally correct if you meaning taking the means through the aid of Allah. But a person by himself is nothing except if he returns to Allah, his creator, to aid him. For verily we have seen many who had the most of wealth, the most of fame, the most of publicity. Their affair, some of them even committed suicide out of severe drug abuse and severe affairs. It shows you they're missing something of that inner peace deep inside. Their relationship with their Creator, with Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. And when that's missing, you find a person, no matter how much wealth he has, no matter different things, he's still going to be lacking inside. He's going to be lacking inside. Some people, they have the greatest of entertainment. Wealth, this, that, but they're lacking from inside and they even confess it. Self-amazement. They say, أساس العجب حب النفس. The foundation of self-admiration, that a person admires himself so much, is his love for himself. That a person loves himself so much that it takes him to forget his creator, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Some people, as they would say, you love yourself too much. Yes, it's true. Some people actually love themselves too much. And this is haqiqun. Person loves himself so much that he gets carried away and his love for himself becomes his own destruction. His own destruction. And one of the things they mention about al-ujb, that it's da'un udal. Diseases vary. Some diseases are like chronic diseases. It's hard. It doesn't leave anytime soon. Once a person gets taken by the disease of self-amazement, it's not easy to leave him. Not like a medicine you can take and then tomorrow he's good. No, this is a disease. He needs to treat himself perhaps for a long period of time. This is قَلَّ مَنْ ابْتُلِيَ بِالْعُجْبِ, that few of the people that have been trialed with self-amazement, they come out totally free from it. We ask Allah salamata wal afiyah. Here, some other words for curing that is not mentioned here, but mentioned by some of the scholars. They said the first thing that a person قد يكسر العجب, that a person could defeat and kill away self-amazement, أن يرى التوفيق من الله تعالى, that he sees success and prosperity, that it comes from Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ, my success only lies with Allah. Number two, أن ينظر إلى النعماء التي أنعم الله بها عليه, that he looks at the blessing that Allah bestowed onto him and ascribes it to Allah. Looks at it, and this is a blessing that Allah granted to me. This is another way. And they say, وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ, as for the blessing of your Lord, then mention it, ascribe, say Alhamdulillah الذي من علي فأفضل وأنعم علي فأجزل, one who bestowed his favor onto me, granted me from his bounties of blessings, so on and so forth, right? Another wording or another thing, أن يخاف أن لا يتقبل منه, he fears that what he puts forward of goodness, it may not be accepted from him. They say this is one of the greatest ways to rid yourself from self-amazement. Abdullah ibn Umar, he says, if I knew that just one thing was accepted from you, it would mean the most from him. And he read the ayah, إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلُ اللَّهُ إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلُ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts from the muttaqeen. He was fearing that he was not from the muttaqeen. So, the fear on yourself that is not accepted from you, or you fear on yourself that you are not meeting what is required. He said, the moment you feel that, is there another way to treat yourself? Is the moment that you feel that you're doing well, believe that you're actually doing wrong. When you believe that you're muhsin, you're actually musi. Whenever you think that you're doing well, actually believe that you're doing wrong. It's another way to defeat it. Meaning, never assume that you have done well. And they say that Ibn Abi Mulaika أدركت 30 من صحابة رسول الله. Came a time where there was 30 of the Sahabas, كلهم يخافون على أنفسهم النفاق. Each one would fear upon themselves hypocrisy. This is another thing. They're fearing upon themselves. Umar ibn Khattab goes up to Hudayfa and says, am I amongst those who the Prophet ﷺ mentioned from the munafiqeen? This is from the meaning of it. He is a Khalifatul Rashida, a rightly guided caliph, the best, from the best of the Sahabas. And this is his positioning. So they say you take from this the way to rid yourself from self-amazement, to treat yourself like this. And the next one, the last one, أن ينظر في ذنوبه التي أذنب قبل ذلك. And whenever you do something good, look to what you did bad before that. Say to yourself, I did something, and whatever you did of goodness, you're going to find that you've done perhaps sins prior to that. And who knows, maybe those sins that you've done before will bring your scale of weighing down, of good deeds down, and that goes up. Or that goes down and the other one goes up. And he goes on to say, how could a person be amazed of himself? وَلَا يَدْرِي مَاذَا يَخْرُجْ مِنْ كِتَابِهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. And he doesn't know what his book contains. And you haven't even been given your kitab with your right hand and you're already amazed. Some people, it's as if it's been said to them, اقرأ كتابك. ها أمو. Just be like, say to them, take your kitab. And he's saying that he's already inni dhanantu. He's already boasting that I am in a good state and everything of that. But we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to pardon us. So the next chapter, inshallah, or the next book we're going to speak about is Al-Ghurur wa Aqsamuhu wa Darajatuhu. Al-Ghurur is deception, its categories and its levels. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ غَرَّتْهُ الدُّنْيَا. Some people, they're deceived by the dunya. Some people are deceived by the shaitan, the gharur, the ultimate deceiver. Some people are deceived by their deeds, their own hasanat. غَرَّتْهُ hasanatuhu, his own good deeds deceived him. Some people, غَرَّهُ عَفْوُ اللَّهِ, they've been deceived by the pardoning of Allah. They say, Allah Ghafurur Rahim, Allah Afuun, Allah Ghafiru Dhanb, Allah Al-Ghaffar, Allah Khairul Ghafirin. Then he continues doing sins and sins. He gets deceived by the names of Allah of these affairs, and he wasn't of those who were secure or from makrullah, from the plot or the planning of Allah Tabarak Ta'ala. This affair of al-ghurur, it's a type of deception where you've been deceived. As if you've been cheated by something, or you put into so much and you undercutted the affair and you came out not getting what you were aiming. يا أيها الإنسان ما غرك بربك الكريم. O mankind, what has deceived you about your Lord, the noble, the generous one? Their ghurur is in amani, in false hopes and wishes. وغرتكم الأماني حتى جاء أمر الله وغركم بالله الغرور. And people, false hopes. He's living in a fantasy world of so many things, of wishes. He just يتمنى ليس بأمانيكم ولا أماني أهل الكتاب. Based upon wishes and hopes. And another thing too, that they said about al-ghurur, the most greatest of them, of the types of deception, is being deceived by a shaitan. From his first type of deception was to who? To Adam wa Hawa. فَدَلَّاهُمَا بِغُرُورٍ. What did Allah say? فَدَلَّاهُمَا بِغُرُورٍ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He got them, وَخَدَعَهُمَا, He deceived them and used His trickery. with certain words. And they say في زخرف القول تزيين لباطله والحق قد يعتريه سوء تعبيره. With him beautifying his words and adorning them and trying to say, coming to you in the form of a nasih. وقاسمهما إني لكما لمن الناصحين. Made the most dramatic of oaths that I'm someone sincere advisor to you. And then he deceived them. So they said the greatest of deceivers is a shaitan. Then the next one in order is the dunya. The dunya. Can give us an ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want us to be deceived by the dunya. The glitterings of it, like a mirage. فَلَا تَغُرَّنَّكُمُ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا. Let it not be deceive you, the worldly life. Allah says it is مَتَاعٌ غُرُورٌ. It's a deceiving enjoyment. It comes to it, حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءَهُ لَمْ يَجِدْ شَيْئًا. He comes to it and he finds nothing. It's like a mirage. He assumes that there was something there and it becomes كأن لم تغنى بالأمس, as if it wasn't there. Dunya deceiving. And we see the marahil, the stages that we go. Person, he's in a moment of strength. And then all of a sudden he gets old and he looks back and he says, SubhanAllah, I was in a dreamland. I never thought I would leave. And now I'm in a different situation. طيب says وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ غَرَّتُ الدُّنْيا فَقَالَ النَّقْدُ خَيْرٌ مِنَ النَّسِيئَةِ وَالدُّنْيا نَقْدٌ وَالْآخِرَةُ نَسِيئَةٌ. Some people get deceived by the dunya. They say, يعني, cash is better than delay. وَالدُّنْيَا نَقْدٌ وَالْآخِرَةُ نَسِيئَةٌ. This is how people think. Getting in advance is better than getting in a delay. Like in this dunya, you want to get paid up front or you want to get paid later? Everyone's going to say, I want to get paid up front. Up front. No one wants to get delayed. Tell them, can you want to get paid this week? No one's going to say no. Everyone wants to get paid this week, even if it's possible to get paid today, he wants to get paid today. So they say the dunya is like this. The dunya, it is an advance. People want it in advance, the enjoyment. عُجِّلَتْ لَهُمْ طَيِّبَاتُهُم. People want their enjoyment brought in advance. And they see the akhirah is nasi'ah, delayed. Afterwards. I say focus on al-hadira, focus on what's before you. So this is from the talbis. وَهَذَا مَحَلُّ التَّلْبِيسِ. And this is the part of deception. فَإِنَّ النَّقْدَ لَا يَكُونُ خَيْرًا مِنَ النَّسِيئَةِ إلا إذا كان مثل النسيئة. ومعلوم أن عمر الإنسان بالإضافة إلى مدة الآخرة ليس بجزء من ألف جزء إلى أن ينقطع النفس. And he says that what is brought in advance will not be better than that which is delayed, except if it's similar to what's being delayed. So the life of a person to the hereafter is not even one portion of 1,000 of it. إلى أن ينقطع النفس. So much you can keep counting. You cannot compare. Uncomparable. وإنما أراد من قال النقد خير من النسيئة إذا كانت النسيئة مثل النقد وهذا غرور الكفار. Find that some people actually believe that these people, they sold their akhirah, they bought the dunya at the expense of what? Losing the akhirah. أولئك الذين اشتروا الحياة الدنيا بالآخرة. And they bought the dunya at the expense of losing the hereafter. They feel like they have gained something. So this is the type of deception of the disbelievers. And then he's going to mention that some people, they are, there's a ghurur specific to the ulama. He says, الصنف الأول العلماء. فأما أهل العلم فالمغترون منهم فرق. As for the people of knowledge, those who are deceived from them are various subsects. منهم فرقة أحكموا العلوم الشرعية والعقلية وأهملوا تفقد الجوارح وحفظها عن المعاصي وإلزامها الطاعات. Some people, they're scholars, they perfected various of sciences. MashaAllah, you look at him, he's perfected various of sciences. But you find that preservation of the limbs from sins and adhering to the obedience of Allah is lacking. وَاغْتَرُّوا بِعِلْمِهِمْ, and they were deceived by their knowledge. وَظَنُّوا أَنَّهُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ بِمَكَانٍ, and they assumed they had some positioning with Allah Tabarak Ta'ala. ولو نظر هؤلاء بعين البصيرة علموا أن علم المعاملة لا يراد به إلا العمل ولولا العمل لم يكن له قدر. Forget that what's intended by their knowledge is al-amal, deeds. You know, they say al-ilm يهتف بالعمل فإن أجابه وإلا ارتحل. Statement of Ali ibn Abi Talib and others, authentic, that knowledge calls out, mandates action. If it doesn't get any answer, it takes off. وإلا ارتحل. That's the main purpose. They say العلم بلا عمل النحل بلا عسل. Knowledge without deeds and actions is like a bee with no honey. A bee with no honey, please? It's lacking. Or they say nar bila hatab, like nothing there to, like fire without a log of wood. And they say also from the things of ghurur is tulul amal, yearning so much of goals. Speak to him, he just has all these goals. Inshallah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So many long-term goals. His goals are endless. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Who knows? You're so overwhelmed of these goals, and it comes between you and your goals, death. طول الأمل. Prophet ﷺ one time spoke about the amal, the goals that a man yearns for in this life, and then the ajal, the death. And it mentioned that it crosses sometimes between them. How many times we yearn for certain things and we don't achieve it? How many people perhaps built themselves a home and didn't live one day in it? حقيقة. Keeps telling you, أمن مستقبلك, أمن مستقبلك, secure your future. Secure your future. It's na'am. The number one future first is my akhirah. I need to secure that. As for this dunya, it's faniya, it's perishing. I need to work and invest in it, yes, of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided, and work to making sure that I don't forget my portion of this life. وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. But to go to an extreme that you are just mainly investing in this life, and as if there's no death, there's no hereafter, this is from the greatest deception. This is the greatest deception. find that al-maut, it is considered to be haylula, what divides and comes between you and your goals. وَحِيلَ بَيْنَهُمْ وَبَيْنَ مَا يَشْتَهُونَ كَمَا فُعِلَ بِأَشْيَاعِهِمْ مِنْ قَبْلِ. It got between them and what they desired, as it occurred from those before them. And they say the greatest ways to cure and to treat al-ghurur, deception, is to say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Hadith, Abi Musa al-Ash'ari. Prophet says, say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, because it's a kanz min kunuz jannah. It's a treasure from the treasures of paradise. Every time you say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, it kills away that feeling that you've accomplished and that you've done so much. There's no strength or power except by Allah. Wallahi, this word has a powerful impact spiritually. It rids you from that feeling of self-amazement, this self-identity that a person is so overwhelmed of himself, says, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Even when the mu'adhin is saying, Hayya ala salah, Hayya ala al-falah, we're told to say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That I can't come to the salat. I can't come to success. I can't even answer the mu'adhin except by the will and the power of Allah. This is the real tarbiyah. This is the cultivation that we need. That if it wasn't for Allah, you wouldn't be here in this house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sitting and benefiting in this gathering. How many people are in delusion? How many people are in a state where they can't even leave their homes? And you're brought out. It is rahmah wa lutfun min Allah. It's the kindness of Allah tabarak ta'ala. So always remind yourself. Teach your children, your families, this word, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There's no power and no strength. They say it means La tahawwala. There's no way you can move and have any motion from one affair to the next, except if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants you that affair. And the quwwata lillahi jami'a. You find that the quwwah, the real strength, is from Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. And start, another thing too they say, we'll end with, inshallah, stop having thiqatun nafs. Stop having so much self-confidence. We're told in the society, just have self-confidence, self-confidence. SubhanAllah, okay, what about not having so much self-confidence, but number one, having confidence in Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Yes, it means to be in a state of courage, to move forward and do not be a coward and to create certain things of your capability, but don't be overwhelmed in this topic of self-confidence. That you can do everything. You're the author of your own destiny. It is you. You are this. You make everything. You make the world. The word is just you. Even the t-shirts now. Their titles. Who can give us some of the t-shirts, logos? Huh? Of the word you. Huh? Who can give us some of the sayings that they just mentioned? It's all about you. Huh? We find that these wordings is built upon, sometimes it has an impact when you say these words so much on a person. He can forget about Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, and the result, he's left to himself. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to not to leave us to ourselves, not even the blink of an eye. Tarfat eye. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took us to ourselves, we would bring much destruction to ourselves, and also to not make us amongst those who وَنَسِيَ خَلْقًا, forgot their creation. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have mercy on us, and inshallah wal mu'adhin yu'adhin wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Barak